Welcome to day 2, your pose of the day, which today is mountain pose, but seated. So how is mountain pose different than seated pose? They're going to look identical to anybody that's looking at you. But what's different in mountain pose is anatomically neutral, but we're activating things. So it is an actual pose. So again, everything is going to kind of look the same as yesterday, but you're going to feel the difference, and I'm going to show you how. So your ankles, can you see that? Your feet and your ankles are directly below your knees. So again, not out, not in, not cross, nothing like that, directly straight down. So for me, my feet kind of face outwards naturally. That's how I'm anatomically built. So I don't try to correct that because turning them in to me feels very uncomfortable. So find what feels neutral to you. Again, mountain pose is about being anatomically neutral. So everything is in a nice 90-degree angle, just like yesterday. Our seat, our shoulders, everything is going to be at this, our back is a nice 90-degree angle. Now where it differs is you're actually going to be activating different muscles. So I want you to think about creating an energetic loop that moves from your toes to your knee to the back of your the back of your calf and back around. So this loop is moving backwards. So obviously that's a visualization that you cannot do, but as you press your feet down, you're going to kind of not necessarily lift your toes. You want your feet firmly planted into the earth. But I want you to kind of think about that loop, and that's going to kind of start to activate muscles on its own. So still make sure your feet are nice and pressed into the earth here. Not standing, you don't get that full effect of really pressing into the earth. If you're tall, let me see if I can move out a little bit. If you're tall, you might be able to press into the earth a little bit more than if you're short, but I can't really press in too hard. But I'm thinking about that energetic loop. So I'm kind of activating my calves, activating my shins. Now here we're going to activate our big leg muscles. So our quads are on the top, our hamstrings are on the back. So I'm going to think about that same loop but going the other direction. So now it starts at the knees, goes up the back of the hamstrings, over our hips, down the quads, and through the knees. So that's how I'm going to think about that little loop, that little energetic loop. And you'll notice as you think about that loop, you're going to start to kind of activate things. So for me, I think about kind of pressing my hamstrings into the chair or wherever I'm sitting. I think about kind of tightening my glutes just a bit, and then I'm activating my quads just slightly. I'm not like tense. I'm just slightly activating everything so that if somebody were to kind of move my body, it wouldn't just flop around. Like it's activated. It's on. All right, now the back. So sitting up nice and tall, same thing as yesterday. Pelvis is nice and neutral. So I'm not leaning forward, not leaning back. I'm nice and neutral. So I want to make sure I'm sitting up nice and tall. My chest is nice and open. My shoulders are back and relaxed away from my ears. My shoulder blades are slightly pulling together, but not tight. So that is pretty active from there. Just sitting up in and of itself is active. But now I want you to activate the core on top of this. So this is what makes mountain pose so amazing, because if you look at it, you're just standing there, but there's actually so much going on in there. It's actually a pose, which is awesome. Okay, so shoulders are good. My spine is nice and neutral. Now, this is weird. You're going to activate your core. I like to think of it, there's 2 different ways that you could think about activating your core. And yes, even if you have a big tummy like I do, you can activate your core. It doesn't look any different to anybody else, but it activates all those muscles inside, and that's what our goal is. So you can either think about getting bracing for somebody to punch you, or the more graphic, weird way, but it really works for me, is thinking about going number 2. So you're kind of like pushing, but don't push. but like in that mode. So you should feel that. My abs are completely activated now. So then check in with those shoulders, make sure everything is nice and tight, or activated, tight's a bad word. Core is engaged right now. There's a lot going on. Shins are still activated. My quads are still activated. My glutes are activated. Not tight. I'm not tensing. They're active. They're active. Core is active. My shoulders are active. Everything is active. Now your arms can be in a couple different places. If you're seated in a chair, wherever is comfortable for you, you kind of want them to be at an anatomical neutral. So if you don't have arms, you're sitting on a couch, you can kind of relax them. You're a little more limited if you're sitting in a wheelchair like I am, so my shoulders just kind of have to be here. But make sure you're not tensing them up towards your ears, so check in with that. Okay, so this is your active, accessible mountain pose sitting in a chair. And if you're doing this for any length of time, which I'm still active right now, like I feel my muscles being active. So this is a really cool pose and I'm really excited you guys try this with me. So try it again later today and let me know what you guys think. Okay, have a good day.